For the day's top stories, now joining us is the Senator Jacqui Lambie. Jacqui, good to see you, by the way. The illegal arrivals are in Nauru. The PM says that's the system working as it should. Do you see it that way?
Great. I hope those people in Nauru are going to be sent back to their own countries, and if their own countries don't want them, they're going to be sent to another country, because you can't just keep them in Nauru and wait for 6 months and then bring them in under the darkness of night and chuck them in Melbourne or Sydney or somewhere. So that is a problem in itself. I don't believe they've been as tough as what they should have done, the Labor Party, when it comes to boat arrivals. I don't think they've been out there warning people enough. We have a great system in Home Affairs where they can send out signals all over phones all over the world and target certain areas to make sure that people are getting these messages. Do not come here to Australia, or we will put you in offshore detention and we will send you home either way. Those messages need to start going. They're obviously, I find it bizarre that they've got here. Have they not got, Home Affairs not got the boats out there that they had on this sort of sovereign border operations? What is going on here? Because I can tell you, Pete, if there's a few more that come in quick succession, I'd say good luck with your next election, Mr Albanese, because you are going to struggle.
So Border Force is continuing to release those videos, Jacqui. Are you saying that more needs to be done, more warnings of that nature?
I just think what I do know is that, a few years ago that those warnings were going out there and they were quite effective, certainly when the coalition was in, and I'm just wondering if they're doing the same amount, they're doing the same thing that they were certainly back probably 3 or 4 years ago before the Albanese government come into power. I think we need to make it very clear to people around the world there that if you do come in here, you will be put on offshore detention and you will not be settled in Australia under any circumstances. And I think that message needs to be loud and clear.
Do you think these legal challenges have boosted the confidence of smugglers?
There is no doubt. I think that, having those legal challenges, they're always going to be a problem. What it means is that probably Australian politicians need to make better legislation, make sure it's extremely tight so the court system cannot come over the top of us. That's what needs to be done. So if he needs to go back in there and tighten things up again, then I challenge you to bring that bill through, mate. And let's get it done so it's out there loud and clear.
Is that still happening? We were just talking about this last week. There's still been no application because, according to the government, the legal threshold is too tight.
Yeah, I think that we should decide who comes in this country, who's allowed to settle here, and who goes, and we should be left with that right.
So just back on your first point, do you have concern that no one will take them? There'll be no other country that takes them from Nauru, so they'll just end up back here anyway?
Well, we were quite successful during COVID to make sure that over 1,000 asylum seekers that were on those islands were moved around to other countries. They did not end up here. So, but what we have seen is the last lot that were left on the route to shut that down, they have been moved in. That last 70 or so over the last 6 to 8 months have been moved back here to Australia, and they were the ones with the biggest security risk. It's a whole bungle here of the Albanese government, and it's becoming really worrying.
What's interesting to me about this, and to others as well, is this new tactical approach, Jacqui, and I'm interested in your thoughts. I mean, it seems to be fishermen dropping them off and then heading back out to sea again. Is this, to you, evidence of a changed approach?
It is really worrying when those fishermen are just dropping them off and then going back to pick up the next load. There is a lot of money that goes to those fishermen or those cartels out there to encourage this that are getting money. And if you start getting that and the fishermen getting off scot-free as well and just heading back, then we really have a problem.
Just a final one on defence, Jacqui. The Hunter-class frigate program, it's to stay, but with just 6 anti-sub ships ordered rather than the 9. Your thoughts this morning on the Navy restructure as this review to the surface fleet is handed down tomorrow?
Please, you need Navy personnel on those ships, and right now their recruitment drive is failing miserably. So I would think if it's anything like the recruitment drive that they've got out there at the moment and dealt with, where, you know, if you're in 4 years and sign up for another 3, and we'll give you 50 grand, mind you, that's taxed to the buggery. And then you're not doing anything for those mentors, those senior corporals and sergeants, not offering them interstay, then you're starting to see a max exodus of those mentors that we actually need in there. But once again, your problem is you can order all the equipment that you like in, Pete, but bottom line is people don't want to join and people don't want to stay in.
Right, so your point is, what's the point in a new ship if you don't have the personnel to crew them?
And honestly, you know, I mean, these things are still going to take years. That's the other problem that we have. But we're still not talking about missiles and putting them all over the top of up the top there of Australia. I mean, why aren't we talking about this? Why don't we have some sort of dome system up there and some sort of barking dog to say, you come near us, we'll let these bloody things off? You know, do the simple things, the cost-effective things to start with. Oh, here it's got, do 2 things at once. That might be a big ask, but seriously, you know, I mean, you know, these things are a years away. We need to, what are we doing now? And we're not doing a very good job of what we should be doing now for national security for this country.
Jacqui Lambie, good to chat as always.